This is Dash, one of my students who has recently cracked an e-commerce client. Their biggest problem is to shoot new pictures for their t-shirt brand. So we created a workflow using Nano Banana that can now take their t-shirt design, image of a model, combine them together and create unlimited images for them for dirt cheap price. I'm going to walk you through the whole workflow now. It's going to be one of the most time-saving workflow for a lot of e-commerce brands out there, specifically the ones that are in fashion and selling clothes. So watch each and every note carefully, otherwise it will be really hard for you to sell it. So we're starting with a manual note, which means as soon as you click on execute workflow, that's when this workflow is going to run. But you won't be giving your client like this. So I would recommend you to either change it to Telegram or maybe WhatsApp so that they'll easily be able to click on them and run the workflow as they type or maybe talk to the Telegram bot. The next note is about an Excel note. This is my Excel that I'm using, which has my image model, the image of the product and the product ID, which I've given, you can give it to. This is where once it generate the new image, the link will pop up for the image. This is how my model looks and this is the image of the t-shirt. Now, if you go back to the workflow, you can see it is set up. This is the name of the Excel sheet, AI e-commerce, and then this is sheet 1, which is the name of the tab. This is remaining as blank because this will get filled once we run the workflow and it generates the link of the image. The next note is about to process these in batches. So let's say your customer or your client has around 50 of them, right? Now this Excel has 50 images of the model and 50 images of the t-shirt. If you send all of them at once to the API that you're using, it will get confused and a lot of your request will be failed. Your client will get angry and a lot of bad stuff can happen, right? So that's why we're sending it in batches. So let's say if this workflow would have, this Excel would have 50 images to it, it will send it in a batch of 10, which means 5 batches in total, and each batch will have 10 images and it will generate the images step by step, one by one. So first it will combine these two, then it will send these two, then it will send these two, and this is how slowly it will process the request so that your API doesn't fail and your client doesn't get angry. Once we process these in batches, it moves to the next node, which is basically giving it a cache data. It takes the image model, it takes the image product, and this code is basically generating a key. Now what will happen is at this step, it will generate a cache which will be attached to your converted image. Now this will help the whole workflow understand this image has been generated in the past or not, and it will use this cache model to do it. If it's sounding a bit confusing, don't worry, I'll explain you ahead in the further notes and it will become more clear. Once we run this node, it goes to the next node, which is basically a code node. You can copy this whole code from here. This code node will generate a cache again, and it will ensure that the cache in the previous node has been generated correctly or not. It is very important to generate this cache. Otherwise, what happens is if we don't have a unique ID that will understand that this image has been generated in past, it will keep sending the same request again and again to your API, which will cost your client a lot of money, which both of us don't want. So what we want is, as soon as a new image is generated for the model with wearing the t-shirt print that I want, it connects it with a cache key, which ensures that if in future I want to use it again, I'll run this workflow. This workflow will search for that cache, and if this cache is already there, it will pick up that image and send it to my Excel file. And this node is basically checking if the cache has been generated or not. Now we move to the next node, which says it has cache or not. If it has cache, you will see it will use the cache result, which is the URL, and it will process it to our Excel node, which is basically this update sheet. It will update it automatically. However, if it does not have the cache, it will go to this create image. Now this is where we are using Nano Banana, Google's recent AI tool, which everyone is talking about. Nano Banana, you'll have to set up your credentials. It's pretty easy to do. All you need to do is create new credentials, get your API key from Fal.ai, go there, search for Nano Banana. I'll leave it in the description. You can copy your API key from there, paste it here. The name would be authorization, and this will get connected. Once you connect it, we need to add this. I've added a simple prompt here. Make a photo of the model warning, wearing the submitted clothing item, creating a professional product photography. You can send the same prompt to ChatGPT or maybe Claude, and as per your business requirement, you can make it much more descriptive. The more descriptive it is, the better it will be. Now, once you do add this, this will create the image. This will send the request to Fal.ai, and Fal.ai will use Nano Banana to create the image. Once it has created the image, this is basically checking whether the image has been successful or not. If it has, once you send for the create image, it will see whether the request has been successful or not. So your workflow is sending a request to Fal.ai. Now you need to ensure that request goes. If it does not, this particular node will check and the workflow will stop. What you can do is you can basically connect this here also, which means if it fails, it will go back to sending the request again, right? This way, the workflow will become a bit more better. But we are not doing it right now because it is going to work. That's I've tested this out a lot of time, and my student has sold it, so I know this is going to work. Now, as soon as the request goes on, it goes to the next node, which is smart wait. This is a very important node and you need to have it in your workflow. The importance of this is you can't really send back-to-back requests to Fal.ai, right? It is going to give you a lot of errors. It's going to stop your workflow. It is going to get rejected by Fal.ai. What this does is this particular node checks every 5 seconds, then maybe 7 seconds and 10 seconds and maximum till 20 seconds, whether the request that you've sent is working or not, if we have get a successful status or not, and it checks it slowly, and it does not do it very quickly, like every 1 second. That would basically stop this workflow and will give a lot of issues. Hence, this takes its time, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and max till 20 seconds, and keeps checking whether our images are getting generated or not. And then it sends the status to this particular node. So you can see we're using the URL of Fal.ai and we are checking the status directly from Fal.ai. So now, once your request is sent to the smart wait, it goes to this check status node, which is basically checking whether our images have been created or not. Once we know our images has been created, it goes to the status check. Now this is checking if the status is completed. Basically, our first batch has been completed or not, or whether it's failed. If in case it failed, it goes back to smart wait. It waits till the images are generated, and once it's generated, it sends it to check status with Fal.ai. Fal.ai tells it that the images have been generated and it goes to the status. Now the next node is whether the images have been successfully generated or not. If yes, it says completed. If no, it will send it to a error handling process, which will give you an email that there is some issue, please do check. This will also be written in your update, in your Excel update sheet. Right here, you'll get a message that the images are not getting generated or there is some kind of issue. And then you'll basically check your workflow, or you'll check Fal.ai what's going wrong there. Now, if it's true, which is important for us, it goes to get result. Now we are again using the URL of Nano Banana from Fal.ai, and we're using a get method. You'll set up your API, which is pretty easy to do. Once you do that, it is going to get the results. It's going to check whether the images are generated, and if they are, it's going to fetch them. Once it fetches them, it's going to download the image for you. Once the images are downloaded, it goes to the Gmail, it goes to the Google Drive, where it will upload your images, all the images that you've generated. So let's say you're doing it for an e-commerce business that is big. Maybe they have 10 images, maybe they have 20 images. It's going to pick all those images and upload it right in here. Now imagine a business who has a lot of clothes that they're selling. Now they will be hiring a particular person out there who is going to either shoot models, which will cost them a lot of money, or they're going to hire a person who is going to take two images, combine them together and give it to them, and then they'll be able to upload it on their Shopify or WooCommerce website, right? And they're going to pay that person for that particular activity. And if they have a lot of images, like each product they need maybe 5 variants, maybe 10 variants, they'll have to generate all those images, and then one person, one dedicated resource is going to work on that. You come into the picture and you tell them that you have built this workflow which will do all of it automatically, so they don't need a virtual agent anymore or maybe a whole resource to do these things. Your workflow will be able to do it for them and for minimal prices. All they need to do, all they need to pay is the Fal.ai API charges, which they were anyhow paying, but you've saved a huge amount of money that VA would have got as a salary. I know this is a very high-end workflow, and if you would like to learn more about these workflows and how I'm creating them, I'll leave my Skool community link. I've not created yet, but I'm looking for people who would want to learn. I'll leave a link down below. If you are interested, fill in that form. I'll most probably send you an email once I launch my Skool community, and you'll get all these workflows in there for free. So once it uploads it to your drive, it stores in the cache. Again, it's very important that a cache key is stored, because next time if a user wants to use the same images, they don't have to pay for it, because we have stored those images in our Google Drive and there is a cache key attached to it. So the workflow will automatically recognize that cache key and it will send that image rather than generating a new one, saving a lot of money for your business client. And it will update the sheet with the correct URL of the image. Now, because this is a demo workflow, I have not connected the WooCommerce right now, but you'll be able to connect your client's WooCommerce account right here, update their API keys, and you'll be able to connect their WooCommerce account. Now, what this will do is it will automatically send the images to your client's WooCommerce account or maybe Shopify, create the product for them, and upload the images right there for them, so they don't have to do it manually anymore, like download it from Google Drive and then do it. Nope, you're doing that also for them. Once you do that, the batch is completed. It will give you a complete request and then it will log the statistics for you. This is how this whole workflow is working, and this is the end result. You can see this is the model and this is the kind of image it is going to generate. This whole workflow is a very complex one, and it's a very important workflow that solves a very important pain point for a lot of e-commerce brands out there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions related to this, ask me in the comment box below. I'll answer you all of them. The next workflow is going to be about how you can automatically post on Reddit every single day. I've created a workflow for that also. So if you want to learn this also, feel free to follow this account, subscribe to this account, and like this video.